What's up, guys? On today's episode of Bourbon Budz, we will be reviewing Bulleit's 12-year rye release.
Coming in at 92 proof, and it's aged 12 years.
So in that 12-year range, the press release states that there are some ryes included that age up to 17 years. So we've got really high hopes for this rye, not a bourbon. Imagine that. How does Bourbon Budz try rye? So once again, we're going to give you a fresh pop. All right, so before we get into tasting our bourbon, we want to give a huge shout out to our sponsor, T3 Treasures and Gifts. Huge shout out for making our Glencairn glasses as well as our coasters. For all of your engraving needs, laser and scripting needs, contact T3 Treasures and Gifts as Tammy Waits on Facebook. Here is the Bulleit 12-year rye. Cheers.
Cheers.
Oh my God, that smells incredible. Very citrusy smell on the nose.
I'm getting a lemon smell.
You can tell there's a little sweetness in it, but it's very citrusy, which I'm not expecting. That's kind of weird.
Got a real good flavor.
So it doesn't have the heat like you would expect on a rye. It's got a little spice, nothing overbearing. Again, the citrus carries into the taste.
It's kind of weird to me. It's a good flavor, but I get a hint of like fresh cut grass. It's funny, but that's what I taste, I swear. Yeah. That's what I taste. It tastes like fresh cut grass smells. I don't know.
So I get the citrus on the palate. More like the citrus rind, more of the peelings. Kind of like if you were making an old fashioned, which by the way, ryes are the best for old fashions, right? You kind of get that lemon or orange peel taste. Little sweetness, nothing crazy. I mean, it is a rye. So when we were in Kentucky, we were told that, the reason Bulleit uses 95% rye mash bill is because when you intertwine the rye and the corn, it kind of counteracts each other, and that's where you get that spiciness from. Bulleit's rye was one of my favorites I tried out there in Kentucky, and this is no different. This is one of the better ryes I've tried to date. It is definitely different, but it is very tasty.
I was not a fan of rye at all until we went to the Wild Turkey Distillery, and they made me an old fashioned with rye, and it changed the old fashioned for me. It's definitely a good rye to make old fashions with.
I would have to agree. This is not a bad rye as a sipper. I don't know if I've said that yet. I think maybe my Peerless rye was the only one I've tried to date that I would say is a good sipper, but this is a good sipper as a rye. Yeah, very tasty. The finish is it's mild. It's not hot. There's no spice on the finish. It's more citrusy. I don't know any other way to describe it. It actually tastes that's the first citrusy whiskey I've tasted to date that is not a citrus blend. So for those of you that have been following Bourbon Budz, you know that we rank our whiskeys and bourbons at the end of our show, and we try to do it on a scale of 1 to 20. Now, how we get to 20 is we each rank the whiskey on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the best. Now, in this case, because I'm ranking a rye, and I'm not going to compare this to the bourbons, I'm not going to think of it as a bourbon. I purchased this bottle, so I know what this bottle costs. As a rye, and in my experience with ryes, I'm giving this a solid 9. My reasoning is it's a very affordable bottle. I want to say I paid $60 for it. On top of that, I'm a very big fan of citrus flavored things, and there's a heavy citrus palate, nose, and finish. On top of that, it's quite pleasant. I'd say a solid 9.
I'm going to have to agree with you. I'll give it a 9 also. It's very good.
So we take the two scores together, we put them up, and that's how we get our overall score of our whiskey. So my 9 and his 9 comes out to an 18 out of 20. Kudos to Bulleit's 12-year rye. Bulleit, you made an incredible product. If you see this, shout us out. But we give Bulleit 12-year rye an 18 out of 20, and rightfully so. We are big fans of Bulleit's products, and this is no different. If you guys are in the market for a good rye, check out Bulleit's 12-year rye. Promise you won't regret it. It's a great pour, great mixer, I'm sure. Until next time, we are Bourbon Budz. Cheers.
Cheers.
What does fresh cut grass taste like? Asking for a friend.
I give it a 10. It gets a 10.
A 10, a
A
fucking
10.
10. Go ahead, Billy Bob.